How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me today. Bonjour from France. That's where I am on my journey so far. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at Bernabei, who has joined Celtic permanently from Lanús. Jota is in Glasgow and might well be announced before this video is even uploaded. Christopher Jullien is or is not on his way out of Celtic, and some more transfer gossip as well. That's all on the way. Before I get into today's video, I want to say a massive thank you to the folks over at the OneFootball app who are sponsoring this video. The OneFootball app is your one-stop shop for all your football goodness. Transfer news, squad updates, fixture updates, results, anything that you want on the club that you support, you can get it in the OneFootball app. One thing that annoys me when I'm supporting Celtic is that on other football apps you have to scroll endlessly in order to find scores or find news on Celtic. With the OneFootball app you can select the team that you want to support, and it gives you one place for all their news, their transfer updates, their fixtures, their results, everything you want on the team you support in one place. Download the OneFootball app now using the link in the description below. Not only are you supporting this channel, but you're going to get a good football app for free as well. So download the OneFootball app now with the link in the description below. So Celtic have their first ever Argentinian player. Alexandro Bernabei has joined Celtic from Lanús. Celtic have a new left back coming in to put pressure on Greg Taylor first of all for their starting lineup, and maybe even push him to be Celtic's first choice left back. Now, one thing that you should keep in mind with this signing is that he does have a suspension to fulfill so far. So obviously people saw the headbutt incident in his last game for Lanús. He was given a 2-match ban. He served one of those games, and it looked like Celtic were going to delay the announcement of his signing until tomorrow. That way they would have been able to fulfill the second game. But for now, all we know is that he potentially, he's not guaranteed to be, but he potentially could miss out on Celtic's first game of the season. Not a massive big deal if you take in consideration how good Greg Taylor was at the latter stages of the season. If he continues that form, then there's no reason why Bernabei would be coming in for that first game anyway. So the questions around Bernabei: what kind of player is he? Is he going to push for a starting position at left back? Is he going to replace Greg Taylor, or is he going to be a replacement for Greg Taylor coming off the bench? Well, firstly, he's a different player to Greg Taylor. As I mentioned in previous videos, Greg Taylor is a good player when it comes to the Scottish League. Very, very solid when it comes to Scottish League numbers. When you scale that up to Champions League, Europa League, higher level opposition, that's where Greg Taylor's athleticism starts to let him down. Now, Greg Taylor is a very good passer of the ball, very safe passer of the ball, but doesn't create all that much. Bernabei is almost the opposite in terms of Greg Taylor. He's very, very strong offensively, started his career as a winger, played more as a winger, and plays as an offensive left back for Lanús as well. So he has really good offensive numbers. He's athletic, he's quick, he's fast, and defensively doesn't get involved quite as much as Greg Taylor, but he does anticipate, it seems, more than Greg Taylor. And now you have to take into context the leagues they're playing at, the style of football they're going to be playing, and the style of play that's going to be playing against them. For example, Celtic playing against St Johnstone, Celtic are going to be more on the ball, more offensive, and not require that athleticism. But let's say Celtic get drawn against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Celtic are going to want someone who's going to be able to get back into position quickly if Bayern Munich are counter-attacking Celtic. With Celtic playing a high line, there's a high chance that may happen, so you're going to want someone who's really quick. Bernabei could be that player. He could be the Champions League player, he could be the player that comes in, but for now we'll wait and see. Greg Taylor is still Celtic's first choice left back, but it's good to have a backup option at left back as well, someone to push Greg Taylor for that starting position. So Alexander Bernabei, it has been a long time coming, but you are the first Argentinian player to play for Celtic full-time as a permanent signing. Next up, Jota. Not going into too much detail because likelihood it will be announced by the time this video uploads because my internet isn't great. Jota is signing for Celtic. He's in Glasgow, that's what we know. Every single tweet that you're seeing right now from Celtic, from various transfer people on Twitter or Sky Sports or whoever you follow on Twitter, if they say anything about Celtic, people are asking about Jota. Jota is probably going to sign. He's likely to sign. He's in Glasgow. What other reason is there for him to be in Glasgow at this point in time other than to sign for Celtic? So that aside, a key point that I do want to make with Jota signing is that if you compare this year's transfer business in the summer to last year's transfer business in the summer, so last year Celtic signed Abada on the 14th of July and they signed Starfelt on the 20th of July. They were the first two signings that Celtic made. Sorry, Starfelt was the 21st of July. Those were the first two signings that Celtic made last year. They were played in the Champions League qualifier on the 21st of July against Michelin, the first leg in that game. So you're looking at the two first signings came 6 days and the day after Celtic's first games in the Champions League qualifiers. Compare that to this year, Celtic have signed Cameron Carter-Vickers permanently. They're going to sign Jota. They've signed Bernabei, a left back. They've signed a backup goalkeeper, all before July. And Celtic don't even have Champions League qualifiers this year. So the business is being done a lot quicker, a lot sooner. And it shows you, number one, the neglect that was going on during the last couple of campaigns, the last couple of seasons, the last couple of managers that were willing to almost accept the fact that business was being done slowly and not quickly enough, and you weren't getting the players in necessary that you needed for these Champions League qualifiers. This year is the complete opposite. Celtic don't even have these Champions League qualifiers and stuff is getting done early doors so that the manager can begin working with these players. That's a positive sign going forward for Celtic, and whether that's down to Ange or whether that's down to Michael Nicholson at the board level, who knows, but I suspect it's the prior. I suspect it's down to Ange. I suspect it's down to him pushing for these signings early so he can start to work with the players early doors. Now to the players who may or may not be leaving Celtic, and number one is Christopher Jullien, who tweeted a picture of him on a plane on his way to Germany. We learned later on that that was to do a medical with Schalke. It looked like he was going to move to Schalke. Celtic had agreed terms, a loan plus a buy-on, and it looked like Celtic were going to extend Christopher Jullien's contract by a year. They had a year in his contract to extend it, so they would get a little bit of money when they eventually sold him last year. All looked fine and dandy, looked like it was going to be over the line, looked like Christopher Jullien was going to leave the club. This morning we are finding out that it has fallen through. Derek Ray has been reporting about it, as have another couple of German newspapers, that the deal had fallen through. Personal terms could not be agreed. So it looks like Christopher Jullien couldn't agree personal terms. It seemed like the medical might have been an issue initially because Schalke had an independent medical team look at him before they even did their own medical, and it looked like that would be the stepping stone. That was not the stepping stone. It seems like it was actual personal terms. Now Celtic need to find a new club for Christopher Jullien, but it does seem like he still will leave the club. It does seem like he's not part of Ange's plans. Sort of seemed like that last season when he wasn't getting a look in, even when he was fully fit. So it's interesting times for Christopher Jullien. I think it is time to move him on. He's on big enough wages. It's time to move him on and get in someone new. So that brings you on to Malick Thiaw. So he is another Schalke player that Celtic have been linked with. Itakura seemed like he was going to be Celtic's number one target. Seemed like he was out of Celtic's price range a little bit. Borussia Mönchengladbach came in for him, but his partner at Schalke, Malick Thiaw, who has been linked with AC Milan, mind you, he seems to be a target for Celtic now. Now, basing him against his teammate Itakura, the likes of Boys Analytics and other data analysts have done research on him, so I'm nicking their stuff to an extent, but it seems like Thiaw is better defensively, not as good on the ball, but he does get involved in a lot more defensive actions, so tackling, sliding. He's not quite as strong in the air, but that comes down to style of play, and he just seems like an all-round very, very good target that Celtic would be going for. Now, like Itakura, he's going to be costly. It's a Bundesliga team. They're coming back into the Bundesliga now the next season, so he's going to cost a little bit of money. He's estimated to be worth between 6 and 8 million. Again, sort of like the Vinicius Souza deal, I don't think Celtic will spend that money, so whether they look to get Thiaw in on a loan to buy option, that potentially might be a way to get him in. But it does look like Celtic are definitely in the market for a centre-back, because, I mean, if Christopher Jullien leaves, Celtic are left with Cameron Carter-Vickers, Starfelt and Stephen Welsh. That's their options at centre-back. You can't go into a Champions League season with just 3 options. two good options and one okay option. That's not good enough for Celtic. That's not good enough for Champions League, and I suspect Andrew will be saying that. So I think the next signing you will see Celtic make is a centre back. So in conclusion, next couple of weeks, hopefully Jota will be announced by the time this video goes out, or by the next couple of hours or days or weeks. Whenever it is announced, it's going to be announced. Next up is going to be a centre back. I suspect that that will happen sooner rather than later, with the league creeping up. It's just over a month now until Celtic's first fixture in the league, so I suspect Celtic will want a centre back in before that happens. So the next couple of weeks are going to be very interesting in that stage. A centre midfielder as well, to, as I said in the previous video, to push Callum McGregor for that number 6 position, or to give more options that if you want to push Callum McGregor up as a number 8, then you have a good number 6 to come in and replace him, sort of like what Beaton was for Celtic over the last number of years. And there are reports that Celtic are going to be looking for a striker as well. I suspect it's not going to be Jordan Larsson, but if it is Jordan Larsson, I'm absolutely okay with that. He seems like a player that could play multiple positions for Celtic, and I mean, let's face it, it would be an emotional signing, but it seems like it would actually be an emotional signing and quite a good signing as well. So if that were to happen, then I think everybody would welcome him with open arms, especially if it meant his father would be visiting Celtic Park on more than one occasion throughout the season. That is the transfer updates for Celtic over the last couple of days or so. Maybe there might be more by the time this video is uploaded, who knows. But if you want to get them, please do subscribe to the channel below, like the video as well so more people can see them, and do leave a comment as well. Let me know what your thoughts are on Jullien. Do you think Celtic should try keep him? What do you think he's worth? Who do you think Celtic should be in the market for? Should they sign Jordan Larsson? Get involved in the comments below. We'll chat to you later. Good luck.